Всем привет, друзья! Вы что, реально верите в байки, будто в марте рыба впадает в кому и вообще не кормится? Да бросьте! Пока 90% рыбаков греют диваны в ожидании мая, остальные 10% втихую лупят карася ведрами прямо сейчас, пока вы смотрите это видео. Рад приветствовать вас на канале. Сегодня мы просто в щепки разнесем главный миф о весеннем бесклевье. Я вам обещаю, после этого ролика вы возьмете удочки, выйдете на водоем и заставите завидовать всех, кто привык ныть на погоду. Мы не будем просто болтать о рыбалке. Мы буквально взломаем код мартовского карася. Ну что, готовы узнать правду? Погнали? Давайте сразу проясним ситуацию. Март — это уже не зима, но еще и далеко не лето. Это самый сложный переходный период. Под водой сейчас происходит настоящая революция. Лед сходит, идет мощный приток кислорода, но вода-то по-прежнему ледяная. А рыба только-только просыпается от зимнего оцепенения, у нее меняется метаболизм. Она хочет есть, но физически не может переварить грубую пищу. И вот тут кроется главная засада. Большинство из нас пытаются ловить мартовского карася, точно так же, как в августе. Те же снасти, те же ведра каши и огромные крючки. А в итоге получают закономерный ноль. Запомните, карась в марте — это совершенно другое существо. Он капризен, предельно осторожен и стоит в очень конкретных точках. Чтобы его взять, нужно думать как биолог и действовать как снайпер. Сейчас мы разложим эту стратегию по полочкам.
Right, so the first thing you've got to understand is the water temperature. It's the be-all and end-all, really. Crucians love the heat, see? If the water's ice cold, they aren't going to be chasing your bait around. They're saving their energy. Every little move costs them calories they can't afford to lose. So here's rule number one. Don't go wandering all over the place looking for active fish. Just find the warm water. Even a half-degree shift makes a massive difference, believe you me. Now, where does it warm up quickest? In the shallows, especially where the bottom is dark. That dark silt or clay acts just like a radiator, soaking up the sun. If the sun is out, head for the north bank. Why? Because a southerly wind will be blowing right at you, pushing all that lovely warm surface water right to your feet. It's simple physics, really. Look for little bays that are out of the wind, maybe a meter deep at most. That's where the crucians go to warm up in the afternoon. Forget the deep holes. It's too cold and dark down there. All the action is in the shallows. Now let's talk oxygen. It's the biggest factor right after temperature. Over the winter, the fish have a tough time breathing, but this fresh meltwater is finally pumping life back into the water. You need to look for where the streams are feeding in, or where the runoff is coming off the fields. Keep an eye out for any breaks in the ice, too. Crucian carp will always head for that fresh current, but there's a catch. That runoff is usually pretty murky, and the fish hate getting their gills clogged with silt. The real magic happens right on the seam, that line where the muddy water meets the clear. That's exactly where you want to cast. The murk is bringing down a feast of worms and larvae washed from the banks, while the clear water lets them breathe easy. If you find a small stream like that heading into a bay, you've hit the jackpot. The whole shoal will be stacked up right there, and believe me, they'll be absolutely starving. Labraimis fauin trealam. Quirigina de asachat Roma samhraidi daiste sagharaiste. Bion carbainan mahartathara bheith faichilleach. Ni dheanan siadach an bauite a frioket go same lena liopai. Ma braithean antiascan friotayocht is lu, beid se dei sithe aigelai treash. Nimo dodo threalam ab heith chom deas gabhalach lehuilis mein liachta, an line anois. Dermad glan ar an pointe a hooks deag no an pointe a fiche. Night pointe a do deag an tuasm hei don friom lin, maidir leis an droim, biod se naid pointe a hookt no fiu naid pointe a se, sea Tase siwm minles nath damhain ala. Is dir ceir o'i briwlais go daim hyn. A chyn wisceglan an earrai, quirian linethiwb egla aran iasg. Feisian si agus feisian si am bawi te ag titim go mina duritha. Ni chlacen linet tin yn gawdd, agus ligean si don bawi te titim go raid agus go na duritha. Ta se seo rithab hashtash. The float, that's your eyes on the water. Now light floats are the secret. A gram, maybe a gram and a half, but 2 grams is your absolute limit. If there's a bit of a breeze, go for a float with a fine needle tip. That way you'll see even the softest of touches. Your weighting needs to be spot on. You want that float ready to dip the second a fish looks at it. Don't be grouping all your lead in one spot near the hook. Spread the shot out nice and even along the line. That last little dropper shot should be about 5 centimeters from the hook. When a fish takes the bait, he shouldn't feel a thing. If he feels any weight at all, he'll spit it out. Your job is to trick him, make that bait feel light as air. It's a game of cat and mouse, and you've got to be the clever one. Hooks. Now this is a real sticking point for a lot of anglers. I often see people using the size 10 and a massive bunch of worms. In March, that's just not going to work. A crucian's mouth is small and they're looking for tiny baits. You should be using a 16 or even an 18. I know they look microscopic, but they have to be thin wire and razor sharp. Thin wire is crucial because it doesn't damage the bloodworm. You need that bait alive and wriggling. If it's burst and hanging there like a wet rag, you won't get a look in. A small hook is easily sucked in. The fish simply won't notice it. And don't be afraid of losing fish. Modern small hooks have an incredible hold as long as you let your rod and the drag on your reel do the work. What's on the menu today? In March, these carp are hunting for protein. They're gearing up for the spawn and they need the energy. Put away the bread, the corn, and the dough. Save all that for May. Right now, bloodworm is king. It's their natural food found right in the silt, and they know the taste of it well. Stick to just 1 or 2 on the hook. You don't want a massive clump. Hook them neatly by the head so they stay lively and keep wriggling. That's the movement that really drives them mad. If you haven't got bloodworms, a small maggot will do the trick. Pick the smallest ones from the tub. When the water's this cold, a red maggot usually works a treat compared to a white one. And for a real classic, try a cocktail, 1 bloodworm and 1 maggot. It's a dead cert that works every time. Worms. Can you use them? You can, of course, but there's a bit of a trick to it. A whole worm is just too big for March. The fish will only be messing about with it, tugging the tail, and they'll eventually just give up. If you're on the worms, use small bits. Just a tiny piece, maybe ½ centimeter long. When you hook it, make sure the point is showing. The scent of a cut worm spreads through the water fast and pulls the fish in from a distance. It's a massive natural attractant. Honestly, worm juice is the best bit of chemistry nature ever came up with. Give that a try when the fishing goes a bit dead. Often it's that small bit of worm that'll get the biggest fish to finally take the bait. Ground baiting. Now this is where 90% of lads go wrong. The golden rule for March is simple. You're there to attract them, feed them. See, the fish's metabolism is still sluggish this time of year. They only need a tiny bit of food to feel full. If you go dumping a kilo of heavy bait into the water, a crucian will have 2 bites and be off for a nap for 3 days. Your mix needs to be lean. The secret weapon here is dirt, just plain old soil from a molehill or some leam from the tackle shop. Mix your shop-bought ground bait with the soil, 1 part bait to 3 parts dirt, or even 1 to 5. The soil creates a lovely cloud and carries the scent, but but it won't fill them up. The fish will root around looking for the tasty bits without ever getting a bellyful. That's what keeps them on your swim for hours. Without that dirt, you'll just end up killing the spot. Right, let's talk groundbait. In the heat of summer, it's all about the sweets – strawberry, vanilla and honey. Но когда вода остывает, эти сахарные ароматы перестают работать. Они становятся слишком резкими и неестественными. В марте на первый план выходят пряности и мясо. Чеснок, укроп, кориандр или перец. Отлично работают запахи креветки, краба или мотыля. Кстати, чеснок – это вообще секретное оружие по карасю в холодной воде. Но будьте очень осторожны с дозировкой. В холодной воде запахи распространяются медленнее, но держатся дольше и бьют в нос гораздо сильнее. Здесь лучше не долить, чем переборщить. Капните немного аттрактанта на ладони и просто разотрите прикормку руками. Этого часто бывает за глаза. Никогда не лейте химию прямо из бутылки в ведро. Вы можете так отравить точку, что рыба будет обходить ее за километр. The color of your ground bait is absolutely critical. In the spring, the water is often crystal clear before the bloom sets in, and the bottom stays dark. If you dump a patch of bright yellow or white bait down there, it's like turning on a spotlight. Small fish are terrified of sitting on a light patch. To them, it's like waving a flag at a hungry pike or a perch. Even the bigger, shyer fish will stay well away if they feel exposed. Your mix needs to be jet black or a very dark brown. Use a proper bait dye or simply mix in some dark lakebed soil to take the shine off it. The goal is for your feed to blend in perfectly with the bottom. You want the fish to find it by smell, not by sight. It's all about making the fish feel safe. Create a comfortable camouflaged spot for them, and they'll reward you with a proper bend in the rod. When it comes to feeding, forget about lumping in 10 massive balls the size of oranges. You'll only end up spooking the fish with all that splashing. In March, you need a much softer touch. Just one tiny ball about the size of a walnut is plenty. Or if you're on the feeder, stick to a small one. You want the quietest entry possible. These fish are jumpy right now. One loud bang and the whole shoal will shift 5 yards away. It's far better to flick in a tiny bit every 20 minutes to keep them interested rather than bombing the water like an artillery raid. If you're float fishing, you don't even need to make balls. Just throw in a loose mix that creates a cloud as it hits the water. That trail of murk would draw the fish in from a good distance. It's not all about staying on the move. Summer fishing is grand. You sit back in your chair, bait up the swim and wait for the fish to come to you. But March is a different story. The fish aren't doing much moving, so you have to. If you've been sitting there for half an hour without a single knock, shift yourself. Don't be waiting on a miracle because it's not coming. You have to go and find them. Move 10 yards to the side. Change your depth. Try casting right up against the reeds or under those old logs. The fish are tucked away in tight spots. You could be sitting just a few feet away from a massive shoal and not get a nibble. If you want to see any action, you've got to be active. Keep it light. A small stool, the bare essentials, and your rod in hand. Cast in, check the spot, and if there's no joy, move on to the next one. The lad who's willing to hunt is the one who'll find those silver bars. But staying put in March?
That's a one-way ticket to a blank day.
Забудьте про подъемы в 4 утра. Ранним утром, после долгой ночи, вода еще ледяная, и рыба попросту спит. В марте клев обычно начинается ближе к полудню, когда солнце немного прогревает воду. Ваше золотое время с 11 утра до 4 часов дня. Как только солнце начинает садиться и температура падает, клев выключается, будто по щелчку выключателя. Пользуйтесь этим, выспитесь как следует, спокойно позавтракайте и будьте на берегу к 10 часам. Вы ничего не пропустите. Напротив, вы приедете бодрым и полным сил именно тогда, когда рыба выйдет на кормежку. Это тот редкий случай, когда лень идет рыболову только на пользу.
Working the bait. Now, crucian carp in March, they like a bit of movement, but you've got to keep it slow, real slow. If your float is sitting there stone dead, you need to wake it up. Give the rod a tiny nudge, just a couple of centimeters will do. Lift the bait slightly and let it settle back down. Even dragging it along the bottom works a treat. It looks just like a little bug or a larva rooting about in the muck. More often than not, the bite comes right the second you stop. It triggers that hunting instinct. The prey is trying to make a run for it, so they have to snap it up. But mind you, keep it smooth, nothing aggressive. A sharp jerk will only spook them off. Just imagine you're working a puppet. Nice and easy does it. Wind and a bit of a chop. Most folks can't stand the wind, but for us fishermen, it's our best mate. That light ripple on the water, that's your cover. In a dead calm, the fish can see your silhouette on the bank plain as day, and they'll spook the second you move the rod. But a bit of a wave works like perfect camouflage, and there's more to it than just hiding. The wind stirs the water up, pumping it right move of oxygen. The windward shore, where the breeze is blowing straight at you, that's usually the best spot. The wind pushes all the surface feed that way, and the undertow kicks up the bottom, bringing all sorts of bits with it. So don't be afraid of a breeze. Wrap up warm and sit right face onto it, as that's where the big lads are hanging out, right in that wash, picking up every little thing that hits the water.
Listen, if you're out with the feeder or a bit of light picker gear, don't be lazy. Make sure you suss out the bottom first. You want to find where that soft muck turns into hard deck or a patch of shells, or maybe find yourself a nice little ledge or a drop-off. See, any feature at all down there is a prime spot where the fish love to tuck in and feed. If the bottom is flat as a pancake, the fish have no reason to hang around. They're looking for a bit of cover. Even a tiny little dip or a small hump can be a proper magnet for them. Spend your first half hour with the marker lead, getting the lay of the land. It'll pay dividends, I promise you that. It's far better to spend 30 minutes finding the right spot and 3 hours hauling them in than 4 hours staring at a dead rod tip because you've cast into the middle of nowhere. Silence. The water is cold and crystal clear, so sound travels through it in a heartbeat. The clatter of a bucket, loud voices, or heavy footsteps on the bank. The fish hear it all. Now the crucian is a wary creature. If he senses danger, he won't bolt. He'll just freeze and stop biting altogether. So keep it down. Don't be slamming your car doors. Walk easy as you head to the water's edge, and whatever you do, don't let your shadow fall over the float. Stealth isn't just about the gear you're wearing, it's about how you carry yourself. Be part of the landscape, not a bull in a china shop. The quieter you stay, the closer the fish will come to the bank.
Nailing those bites. Now March fishing can be a cagey business. The bites are often whisper thin, a tiny dip of the float, a little nudge to the side, or maybe it just sits there, looking a bit off in the water. Strike the moment you suspect anything at all. Don't be waiting for the float to bury itself or tip over, because chances are it won't. A crucian will take that bait, hold it, and the second something feels dodgy, he'll spit it right back at you. You've got to be lightning fast. Use a light rod with a fast action so you can set the hook with a quick snap of the wrist. There's no need for big wild swings. You'll only tear the fish's lip. Just a short, sharp flick is all it takes.
It's all about the mindset. Don't be giving up. March really puts your patience to the test. You can sit there for 2 hours without so much as a nudge on the rod. Plenty of lads will pack up and head for the car. But then come 2 o'clock, it's like someone flips a switch and they're well on the feed. Fishing in March is a pure game of nerves. You've got to trust your swim and trust your tactics. If you've put the work in, the right spot, the light tackle, the proper feed, the results will come. The fish are there, you're just waiting for that window. Patience is an angler's greatest virtue, and in the springtime, it's worth its weight in gold. Last thing now, but it's the most important, safety. If you're out on the ice, you've to be dead careful. That March ice is a right divil. It's rotten and honeycombed, and it won't give you a crack or a word of warning before you're through it. Don't be heading out on your own, and always have your safety picks ready. If you're sticking to the banks, mind your footing. The muck is lethal, freezing 1 minute and turning to slush the next. Taking a dip in that freezing water is a pure misery. No fish is worth your health, simple as that. Wrap up well and get the proper thermals on. If you're warm and comfortable, you'll be much sharper and you'll fish better for it. Look after yourselves, mind how you go, and the fishing will be grand. Good luck to you. Right then, lads, there you have it, your full game plan for the month. March isn't the time for excuses, it's the time to get tactical. Forget the old stories about the fish being dormant. They're active, all right? They're just waiting for you to get it right. All you need to do is tweak your approach. Think light lines, tiny hooks, plenty of live bait, and keep your ground bait dark by mixing in some soil. And most importantly, go hunting for those warmer pockets of water. That's the winning formula right there. Try out just 3 of the tips from this video on your next session, and I promise you, it'll be a total game changer. Don't be afraid to experiment. At the end of the day, fishing is just one big puzzle, and you're looking for that perfect key. Cheers for watching till the end. If you found this useful, make sure to sub to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're ready when the season really kicks off. Throw us a like as well. It's the best way to support what I'm doing here. Now, a question for you. What's the biggest fish you've ever landed this early in the spring? Let me know in the comments and we'll get a bit of a discussion going. See you all on the bank.